what does sonship and what does fatherhood mean?
Father carries the seed, and seed is life. So he has the sole responsibility of nurturing that seed until it becomes life, nurturing that life until it becomes a fruit.
How does a father relate with a son?
A father is afraid, must be afraid.
Yeah.
A father must be available. And that is where now we have a big problem.
Yeah.
Because we have very many absentee fathers.
It's a nice time. It's a great opportunity that we are here. My name is Laban, and I want to welcome you to this Father-Son podcast. It's a great honor that we are here to discuss issues pertaining son. What do we mean by son? What do we mean by fatherhood? And with me here today, I have a man who is an amazing person. You know, it is said for a good chef to be a good chef, he must know how to season the food. Now, this man is well seasoned. Is a man who has been tested, and is a man who has raised a lot of young people. And today we are privileged to have him. He is going to tell us his name. I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm going to welcome him. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. You're most welcome. You can greet our viewers.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here. I'm really honored, and I'm looking forward for a great time. My name is Moses, and I'm excited about what God is going to do and what we are going to learn in this podcast.
Wow, it's thank you so much. We are so much honored. Trying to look for someone who could come on board, and we do this together. I think we thank God that for this connection, and coming from standpoints, we want to know, what does sonship and what does fatherhood mean?
I think the beginning of life, it's a father.
Yeah.
Father carries the seed, and seed is life. So, and for a seed to grow must be nurtured.
Yeah.
And if the seed is not nurtured, it dies. And then, and there is no product. Now, the father is the carrier of that seed. So he has the sole responsibility of nurturing that seed until it becomes life, nurturing that life until it becomes a fruit, and that fruit produce another seed.
Yeah.
And then the generation continues.
Yeah.
And that is why it is so critical and so important to understand the role of a father and what a father is supposed to do and who is a father, and the role of now the seed, which is a son. And what now the seed, what is the role of a seed and what the seed is supposed to be, and how the seed is supposed to be. Because if the seed is not able to reproduce, then that seed becomes nothing.
Yeah.
And there is no regeneration. Yeah.
Wow. Talking about that, it takes me back when I was young, and there was this kind of a picture that was painted to us when we saw our father. And I remember, yes, it's a symbol of authority, I believe. Yeah. It's a symbol of power. Yeah. But I believe besides that, there's the connection the father should have with the son. I remember back then when we used to see our dad, we had to run because he comes in the room and everyone is running. And back then, even our dad, they named him Stony because he was a no smiling person back then, and we used to fear him. I don't remember any time I cracked a joke with my father. I don't remember. until now when I'm an adult that we can sit down with him and crack some jokes. But back then it was put that, hey, this person is your dad, yes, but there is a limit. You're not supposed to talk to your father in a smiling or in a joking way. And that leads me to ask, how does a father relate with a son? How does he build this connection? How do you build this connection that a father, me and my father, we feel connected? I can be open to my dad. I can tell I see him not only as power, but as a friend. How do you build that relationship?
I think you are right. Africa, in Africa context, a father is an authority.
Yeah.
And a father is what we'll say in quote unquote a dictator. He dictates things to happen.
Yeah.
Most fathers, they even punished their wives. And even their wives, who are our mothers, feared them. And then they created a picture that for him, it's a no-go zone.
Yeah.
Just as you say about your father. But this has made many families to lag behind. Most of the challenges that we are facing today of the families is lack of the father and the absence of the father. Yeah. This is what happens. Before I answer your questions, this is what happens. That when you grow without that relationship with the father, you develop what we call orphan spirit. And you develop an orphan spirit. And that orphan spirit, you are alone.
Yeah.
The characteristics of that spirit, it is one, it's lack of self-confidence.
Yeah.
Number two, it is anxiety. And number three, fear. So you will deal with anxiety all through. You have seen people who are always anxious.
Yes.
You have seen people who always fear everything. They are successful in their line of business. They are successful in whatever they do. But they will never take any risk. If the guy started as a cleaner, he doesn't even want to go and ask for a promotion. He is always at that point because he fears something will happen to him. You have seen people who has just a terrible attitude. And they try to change that attitude, but they cannot change that attitude. Because one of the things a father does, he give affirmation. Now, that orphan spirit, what we call the orphan spirit, it is a spirit that pulls you back. And it denies all the confidence from you. And that is what now, what the fathers, especially in Africa, they did to us. And to most the Gen Zs, they have a different perspective. But if you look at most millennials and you put X generation, you will find that quite a lot. Because also our fathers were absent. They were in the cities looking for the money. And that has affected us. So back to your question now. Who is a father? And what is a father supposed to be? Now, number one, a father is afraid. Must be afraid. And if you have to become, if you have to pass what you have, you must be afraid. Why? Because as we said, a father carries life. It's the source of life. Now, for that to grow, there must be an environment that it is created that enables now that life to be passed to the other person. Number two, a father carries inheritance. You cannot give inheritance to the person who is not available. So the father has the inheritance in him because he's a father. And that means that he must build friendship and a very strong friendship with his son. Number two is that a father must be available. And that is where now we have a big problem. Because we have very many absentee fathers. So this life that the father is carrying, it is transferred to the son through impartation. Through impartation. And that's why you see, in the old days, you will see a father working with his son because he's impacting that. Even we have seen in the West world.
Yeah.
We have seen presidents moving with their sons in the big offices.
Yeah.
You have seen them walking in the offices, in the big offices, because it is through the impartation they pass that.
Yeah.
Even here, our president, you'll see him with his son all through.
Yeah.
And it is because he's available. That availability, it helps the passing of the impartation of that inheritance.
Yeah.
Because remember, he is inheriting your spirit. That's life that it is in you. This other inheritance, you'll agree with me, Laban, that you have seen many people, their father lives, and they leave them with a lot of money and a lot of property and real estate, which are really real.
Yeah.
And by the time it clicks 2 years, within 2 years,
the wealth is not there.
There's nothing. Because the inheritance, it is not the things that you see.
Yeah.
It is the spirit that it is passed. And that is passed through impartation. And that impartation can be when the father is available. So when the father is not available, then that can never happen.
Yeah.
And number 3, the father is a helper. The father is a helper.
Yeah.
It's that hand that it is able to hold you. Because you are a baby. So you have to be held. And you have to be helped to walk. From the time that you start making baby steps, that guy must be there to help you, to allow you to make mistakes. To allow you to make mistakes. And when you make mistake, he help you to correct those mistakes. And lastly, but not least, he is a ruler. He is a ruler. And he rules. He put this ruler, he's not a dictator. He exercised his authority by putting his house in order. So he put his house in order. So he knows that what needed to be where, it's where, and who needed to be where, it's where. So he delegates and he knows the time that he needed now to pass what he has to pass to the son. Who he has groomed for him now, the son, to become the father. Yeah.
Well, when you talked about fear, it took me back, and anxiety, it took me back. I had just finished my A-level, and definitely I was in a village school. It was a single-sex boys' school. Then back in the village, so I used to leave school, go back to the village, and the best part of my life, my dad wasn't there. He was working. He could come maybe on a weekend, spend with us a weekend. On a Saturday, on Sunday, he has to go back to work. And that one is something I couldn't control. So when you talked about he impacts, it came vivid to me. Now I am leaving village. I'm going to the city. And I remember the culture shock that caught me. I would look at everyone and I would feel everyone is looking at me, thinking, what kind of a villager is this? Because I didn't have that self-esteem.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to mitigate around challenges. And so when you said that a father must be there, it's very, very important. And it leads me to where we are right now. When you look at the society, our society right now, is that we have a generation that there is a lot of absent fathers, and it's a very big danger. It's something that we are. I don't know how even to put it. It's like a disease, something that is going to erupt at some point. And so for us, the sons, what do I need to be a son? I know that being born is one thing. Is my father, I am his son by default. But there's that characteristics of son, to inherit that impartation, to get closer to my dad. There is something that I have to do on my side. So what are these characteristics from the sonship?
Now, very good question. I know, to comment on the issue of the fear.
Yeah.
When you have not grown with your dad, you must be intentional and very intentional to deal with that,
Yeah.
because you will get stuck
Guys,
in life.
intention. Be intentional.
You must be intentional to deal with that. And you must get a father who helps you to get out of that. And that's why I say you must be intentional.
Yeah.
A father is a figure. It's a father figure that you can be able to listen. And we are going to look at the characteristics of a son that you have. But you must be intentional. The first thing is the intentionality of a son. To understand that this, I like you put it very well. Most of us did not have the opportunity.
Yeah.
To have our fathers, no control. No control. Most of us has been born in a single, by single mothers.
Yeah.
We are dealing with these issues. Most of us broken marriages. Our father was not available. Most have moved.
Yeah.
Some, the father died. We have all these kind of stories.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't become very intentional and understand that there is heights that you will not be able to up until you learn how to sit under a father figure and able to help you and to guide you and to direct you to overcoming that orphan spirit, it will keep on following you.
Yeah.
It will keep on following you. It will keep on following you. And you will succeed, yes. But what you are supposed to be operating at 90%, you'll be operating at 5% of your potential. 100% of your potential, you'll only be able to use maximum 20. So 80 is wasted. 80 is wasted.
Yeah.
So if you become intentional and now start submitting to a father, and here a father is not a man.
Yes. Yeah.
A father is not a man. No. A father is not a man. A father, it is the person who has those characters, the person who is able to build you.
Yes.
It is women who are great fathers. They are especially spiritual fathers. You have great women who are spiritual fathers, who carries that grace of life, and they are able to do amazing, and they have done amazing job in raising sons all through.
Yeah.
So, what is a son supposed to be for him to get this inheritance? Now, number one, before we come to that, is that we have different kinds of sons.
Okay.
You have different kind of sons. And there are sons who are totally not available. We have hard-capped sons. Those are sons who are, they call them, where I come from, they call them the black...
Black sheep?
The black sheep.
Yeah.
The black sheep of the family.
Yes.
Call them black sheep.
Yeah.
So we have the hard-capped sons. We have overcomer sons. It doesn't matter where you grew from, whether your father was there, whether he was not there, you are an overcomer.
Yeah.
And you are able to hit everything and build many things.
Yeah.
We have a humble son. You have a guy who is just humble. And he has built himself to be humble. And these categories of sons, all of them will behave in a different
way. Yeah.
All of them will behave in a different way. So you have first of all to know, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I?
Identify yourself.
You identify yourself. It starts from there. Identify yourself. And who do I want to be?
Yeah.
Because you can be a black sheep.
Yeah.
But you can paint yourself white and become a white sheep.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah? There's nobody who was born a black sheep.
Yeah.
You can only, circumstances can find you wherever that you are. And then that makes you to become that. And you become unlowly, you become all that kind of a thing. And you don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And then that makes you now to become the black sheep.
Yeah.
You can be a man who is not able to be an overcomer. Now, in this overcoming, the greatest challenge that you must overcome is overcoming yourself. That's the greatest limitation that as a son you have.
Yeah.
It is the self. Because the self will always fight with you.
Yeah.
And this self, it is humility, so that you become a humble son. Because humility you will only achieve humility when you learn how to listen,
Yeah.
when you learn how to obey, and when you learn how to follow.
Okay, wait a minute. You said to be humble is you have the ability to listen. You can, after listening, you can follow.
You can obey.
You can obey, and you can follow. Wow. Yes. Go ahead.
So the moment now you develop that, then you have a father
Yeah.
that now you submit to. That you submit to, because the impartation,
Yeah.
the path of life, is passing through submission.
Yeah.
It's like learned about diffusion and osmosis from high
Yeah.
concentration to the low concentration.
Yeah.
So there must be that submission on your side.
Yeah.
And you cannot submit if you're not humble.
Yeah.
And you cannot be humble if you have no respect.
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
You get?
Yeah.
And you cannot respect if you don't honor.
Oh. Yeah.
So the key of a son number one is to learn how to honor. And that is dealing with self.
With the self. Yeah.
Because as you get to 14 years, your adrenaline starts growing and you become a warrior. And where I come from in Karamonja is that we go to the bush.
Yeah.
And you have to kill a lion
Yes.
for you to be a man.
Yeah.
Now you see now that adrenaline is, now you are a man. You don't want to be told about anything.
Yeah.
Now you have to overcome that, that you can be able to sit at a person and listen.
Yeah.
Then obey that what he's telling you, which doesn't make sense at all. At all. My journey was, there are many things. Many people have fathered me. One of them is a great man called Apostle Ken Ogare. And as his son, there are many things, as he tells me, up to today, that don't make sense completely.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, this man, what is he saying?
Yeah.
But I have to
Yes.
humble myself and listen to what he is saying and obey that I don't understand. And follow it over the time. After many years, is when it will make sense. Because your father will see what you cannot see.
Wow. Wow.
Your father will always see what you cannot see. If he can see only where you can see, then he's a son like you.
I think there's a saying in African, a man sitting on a stool can see far than a boy on top of a tree.
Exactly. Exactly. So your father will be able to see many years. But now, you have internet, you are more educated, you have the facts, you have all that.
Yeah.
And what he is telling you, according to the latest AI, it doesn't make sense.
This man doesn't know what he's saying.
Even he cannot use AI.
I went to AI, he's saying something else.
He cannot. Because what he's telling you cannot make sense. But he has a lot of experience.
Yeah.
He has a lot of experience in life. He knows what works and what doesn't work. He knows what works and what doesn't. So honor is key number one, is overcoming self.
Yeah.
And overcoming self, I repeat again, if you want to be a son, you must overcome self. Because the self will always compete with your father.
With you.
And you will lose life. Because your father will not force you to do what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because he has love. Because a father is love.
It's love. Yeah.
And love, it is kind.
Yeah.
And love endures. And love perseveres. And love is patient.
Yeah.
So because of that love, your father will be very patient with you. Unfortunately now, it is danger for you.
Yes.
As a son. Why? Because if I'm patient with you for the next 10 years, you'll not be moving.
Yeah.
You'll be stuck in life. So what you're supposed to achieve within 10 years, it will take you 15 years. So overcoming self, it is the key number one for son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is getting juicier. It's getting more flavored. I told you the man that we have on the bench today, it's not just a simple man. He is seasoned, and he has a lot of wisdom to share with us. And my take is that you have to, being humble, that it has caught me deep. That humility is not just kneeling down. Humility is the ability to listen, the ability to obey, and the ability to follow. That is what humility is all about. So we are coming back for the second episode of this, and we are going to look at, I know there is a story before I go further. There is a story that is told. This young man who grew with his father, his brother, and time come, I think he was a Gen Z a Gen Z. And he reached a point and said, Mzee, give me what belongs to me. And the father could, I don't know what kind of a father that is, that can see this guy is just going to waste, but he is willing to give the wealth to this man and just to go and waste, put it into a waste. And we are going to look into that. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stick there. Don't touch that dial. Please remember to subscribe. This podcast is Father, Son. What is a father? Who is a father? And who is a son? Please subscribe and like and share with your family. Till next time for the second episode. Let's see you then. Bye.